everybody, Daniel here, and today I plan to finish up this bumper. This is a 4-part series. I was planning on being maybe 2, but at this point I'm at the 4th series and I want to close it out on this video. So with that, hang tight and let's get started. So what am I going to tackle today? I want to finish this bumper. I've been working on it for 3 videos, and the 4th video I want to call it done and get it installed on the Jeep. I don't have a ride coming up, but I've got other things to do on the Jeep, and I really want to get this done because it's in the back of my mind and it won't let me think about anything else other than trying to finish this bumper finished. So with that, I think I'm going to unbox this and start making the backer plate for this, and we'll get at it. So. Go over all this real quick, show you what came out of the box. So here's the actual winch in and of itself. Here's the roller plate, and then we have, this will be the control box, which will sit on top. It's giving me all the cables that I need. Plenty enough, it looks like plenty enough power cable to run to the battery terminal. This one will probably end up going to the engine block. I think that's where I get a good spot for that. The 12-foot remote, it's a wired remote, so you'll wire that in probably in the control box if I had to guess right here. Yep. And then it comes with a hook, which is quite nice. And then the most important part, you got to have one of these things. So that's a really nice little flag there. So that's very important. Other than that, that's really all there is to it. I need to get the mounting point. I'm hoping that in the directions, because I usually don't read these, I'm hoping that in the manual it will hopefully have a mounting location, so I can look in there and I don't have to fuss too much about it. It'll give me the mounting hole what do you call them, parameters, so I can basically a template that I can put down. I don't know if it'll have a template. It'd be great if it did. If not, if it gives me basically the X and Y on this, then I can just drill the holes myself. So kind of in the spot, just do a dry fit on it and see where everything will line up. I want to center that spool. Still have a center line marking from here because, like I said, I haven't painted it yet, so I still have a center line marking, so I want to center that spool up there. I haven't read the directions, but I'm assuming that'll be right. I'll read them before I start drilling holes, but that's kind of what I'm looking at there. And then this will go right, probably flush. I'm thinking I will have flush mounted. I'll take a plate, maybe set it back by about a ½ an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch, something like that, and that will get mounted right there. Looks like it only gets mounted with 1 bolt on each side, so that should be easy enough to make. Because I think I can make 2 holes. That's easy enough. That'll mount right there. And then the control box will mount on top. I'm not going to worry about. Well, maybe just put it on there, see what it looks like. It'll kind of go generally right about there. This will go, for example, here, centered up. And what I'll do is I'll take a piece, and so now that I have that, I'll take a marker. What I'm going to end up doing is kind of marking the outline of this, so that when I'm making that metal for the front, for the backer plate for this, I'll know kind of have a keep out zone where I don't want to have a flaring or a gusset coming back and touching this or impacting on this. As you've probably figured out from now, I don't have templates. I'm just kind of eyeballing it, and as I put it together, what kind of looks right, makes sense to me. That's really what I'm doing. I don't have like, oh, well, I'm going to take all these measurements and do all this. I kind of just visualize it, and that works good for some people. It works good for me, and might not work good for everybody, but there. What I'm going to end up doing to cut this is I'm going to use this. It's a metal cutting blade. I'm going to install it on my circular saw, and that should zip right through it. So I've used this a couple times. I've gotten about 20 feet out of this blade. It's a cheap blade. You get them for about 30 bucks, but it tends to do a pretty good job. to let you see what I'm talking about, when I cut it with the that blade, it gives it a very nice edge. You know, it looks like a machined edge almost. No burrs or anything like that along the edge, and no heat. You can basically pick it up, you know, right after you cut it. I mean, there's a little bit of an edge, but not much. I mean, it's a great cut in my opinion. I have this lined up like that. And then what I want to do is provide some kind of gusseting so it goes back. So I need to put, I guess I need to get this on there first. Roughly there, there, and there. So after further inspection, I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to move this plate a little bit further down. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is, I don't want to mess with this top taper part that's up here. What I'd rather do is cut from this straight edge, so this taper edge goes down a little better. That's just, I think the look will be a little better. So what I'm going to do is, I measured from the top of this line. This is where I put that roller assembly here. That was the top line there. I measured from there to there. It's about 2.5 inches. Give myself a little bit of space, so I'm going to cut up 2 inches from the bottom, and I'm going to rip a line right across to there, and then I'll have that as the top part, and then I'll have the roller assembly slide down a little bit onto that part there. I just kind of measure in here what I'm eyeballing, what I think I want to have, because I want to, this plate is not very structurally sound this way. So I'm going to make a gusset out of this, and I'm going to take and cut on the back side of this. I'll make a line through here, cut all the way across, but not cut all the way through. Just cut it deep enough that I can bend this metal back, and I'll match the two angles, you know, match the distance over, and the two angles I'll put it back to give me some gusseting for this steel plate. So what you can see here is I've laid this up here. I've taken a Sharpie and I have taken those holes and lined those up like that. And then I've basically cut and basically traced out a window here. And then the next thing I need to do is just get my angle grinder, the angle grinder with a cutoff wheel, cut out this slot, and then drill out those two holes. I'll measure them up to make sure they're equal distance, and I'll also take a measurement off the back of this. Make sure, because the Sharpie will go in at an angle. It won't go straight. It goes in at an angle. So I'm getting the alignments off. But I can take a tape measure across from here to here and get the actual distance from hole center to hole center to make sure I have that right. So I let this sit overnight. After painting, I let it sit overnight. One other thing I did right before I left is I just kind of lightly went over it with the bedliner one last time, but I held the nozzle a little further away from it. This is rattle cans. And that was able to put a little bit more texture on it. So once it got finished and it got dried up, it was starting to dry last night, so I just left the bullet heater running in here all night last night. And it turned out pretty good. It's I think good enough that I can start bolting stuff to it and the paint's not going to peel off of it. And I think at this point I'm going to start assembling things in the garage as opposed to trying to put it together here, because it already weighs a lot, and if I start putting a winch on it, it's going to weigh a whole lot more. So I'm going to go put it on the Jeep and start putting the assembly process over in the garage. That gets the top part on. Now, remember from my previous videos, I have this bolt that goes through that way. And I think there was some shrinkage when I pulled it off and started welding on it, because it was a little bit tighter fit, so I just used these bolts, tighten them down to pull that thing right down on top of it. And if all goes well in the world, I should be able to slide this through. Yay! Get to know your Jeep very intimately when you start working on it, because you are all over inside your Jeep, so you are one with the Jeep, I guess is one way to say it. Woohoo! Going right in too. Most importantly, can't forget these guys. So the shackles. This gives you serious trail cred. More importantly, if you need them, they're there. One thing I will note is I've learned this just from my last experience trailering this somewhere, is that this probably run a piece of cord or a piece of copper or something just to hold that in if it has a hole there, because just being trailered, it vibrated loose and fell off down the road, and that's bad news for anybody that's, you know, hopefully it was behind me, hopefully nothing bad happened, but that falling off on going down the interstate at 70 miles an hour that's pretty heavy. That's not good. So note to the wise, just make sure you do that I'm going to do that in the future. Hopefully you guys will too as well. Hey everyone, finished bumper. Hope you enjoyed the videos. I enjoyed making them, and this has been like I said, it's a little bit longer than I expected. I was looking for really 1 to 2 parter, but it turns out being 4. So anyway, this is the finished bumper. I've been able to do everything I wanted to do on it. It looks kind of like what I wanted, so I'm pretty happy with it. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give me a like, subscribe to the channel, and you'll keep getting these videos in the future. All right, have a good one.